And then when they ask you, like, you don't understand how much of a victory this
Hey,
is.
Calicorn guy. Hi. Yeah.
All right, Matt, roll the intro.
Evening, officer. Is something wrong?
Just keep your hands where I can see them. Routine traffic stop. We got reports of someone driving under the influence. You know anything about that?
No, I'm only under one influence.
What's that?
The influence of Jesus.
It's time for Under the Influence.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything to scare your children.
Welcome back. It's Jerry again, and this is episode 2 of Under the Influence. Wasn't that first episode just an absolute hoot and a half? I loved listening back to it, and I hope you did as well. As you're about to hear, our sound quality has improved ever so slightly, but have no fear, greener pastures are within sight. Episode 4 is where things take a real upturn and skyrocket into Clarity Town. Also, if y'all don't mind and you're enjoying what you've heard so far, please leave us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening. It greatly improves our chances of reaching new people in this ever-expansive world of podcasts, especially if it's a 5-star review. Hint, hint. Now, this episode, we discuss a myriad of topics from popular Christian music to personal victories and everything in between, but the discussion primarily rests on our feelings about popular Christian music and how it has changed, especially in the last 10 years. I want to preface this discussion by saying that we in no way intend to say whether this music is good or bad. In most cases, that's up to personal preference. We simply observe the fact that there is a noticeable shift in what's popular in the Christian music space nowadays, and we contemplate some of the possible reasons for why that is. But this topic of Christian music has had me thinking back on something that my sister and several people at her school are all doing right now. They're taking a break from secular music entirely and listening strictly to Christian music up until Easter. Now, this is something that for some may sound easier than for others, but I found it very inspiring. And as I now strive to take up this challenge with them, I have immediately noticed the significant difference in my demeanor and attitude throughout my day just from simply listening to music that worships and praises God. 1 Thessalonians 5:16-18 says, "To rejoice always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus." I mean, just today, I was listening to a new group that Levi showed me named Bifrost Arts, and they have a song called How Long. And when I tell you that this song is immensely powerful in its words and its message, it's a serious understatement. I could not get the words out of my mind today, and as I struggled with my work and the responsibilities of family, business, and life, they were all weighing just heavily on my mind. The lyrics of this song grounded me, and they kept my mind on the promises of God and would consistently bring my mind back to the blessings and love that He has shown me. In thanksgiving to God, my anxiety and fears were washed away. I was in constant prayer today, and I firmly believe that being immersed in music that praises Him is what did it. Philippians 4:6-7 says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and repetition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." Surrounding myself in Christian music today and avoiding secular influences kept me in constant thanks to God despite my difficulties, and the peace of God washed over me. So I encourage you, crank up that Christian radio, cue up that Jars of Clay Spotify playlist, or throw in that old Stephen Curtis Chapman cassette tape and rejoice in the Lord today. Give Him thanks and give your anxieties over to Him with me. I'm going to go ahead and pass you off now to our discussion today. You will notice that Levi is absent, and our discussion has nothing to do at all with where we left off in episode 1. But in Levi's absence, we have his older brother Byron with us. He's one of my closest friends, and he's a real jokester. So I know you're going to enjoy his company as much as we all did. So without further ado, enjoy Season 1, Episode 2 of Under the Influence.
Welcome back to another episode of Under the Influence, the official Christian Influence podcast. I'm your host, Jude Crane, joined by my co-hosts,
Jerry Crane.
and
Byron Thiessen.
Byron Thiessen. You may notice Levi is gone. Last episode, we had kind of talked about a hypothetical situation where you had to kill these hive-minded 6-year-olds that weren't really... They were zombies. So it's okay.
We won't be
He
talking
took it
about
too far.
Yeah.
He might not be returning. So we have Byron. It's his brother.
He's his brother.
He's his brother. He's not an it. He's a very intelligent, smart, ginger man. And he's our guest for today.
Yeah, I mean, episode 2, and we already have a guest. So,
Yes.
I mean, we're hitting highlights here.
I mean, we are aiming for the #1 spot on every podcast chart, and I think we're probably already there.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's
Probably
fair
not.
to say.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
We're glad to have you.
But before we get into anything too important, since I'm sure our discourse today is going to be incredibly important, I do want to just shout out real quick. Anybody that wants to get more involved in our podcast or our Discord community and our gaming community especially, go ahead and go to christianinfluence.net. That'll take you to anything and everything about Christian Influence. You should see occasional devotionals there, links to our Discord, and make an account and join and be a part of our different groups and game with some of us. We'd love to see you there. But we just want to, start the podcast off real quick with some information about where you can find us online. And also, you will eventually see a forum there where you can drop prayer requests, and we'll talk about them here on the podcast, or you can ask that they're anonymous. But we have a channel in our Discord where you can request prayer and know that, anybody in the Discord is praying for you. And I do want to just talk about one on here real quick. I'm not going to try and pronounce their username, but we have somebody that's leaving for a missions trip to Africa, and I believe they just left this morning. So if you're out there listening, please be praying for them for safe travels, and that a ton of people will hear the gospel, and that God will use them. All of us here are praying for them as well. So thank you for that. All right, so before we get into our massive topic here, we do have our guest, and this is why we brought him on, specifically for this purpose. He's a huge jokester, one of my favorites. Every time I see him, he has just a joke ready to go. So we're going to shoot over to Byron real quick for a joke.
Oh, gosh. Okay. So, if you know about a good Irish soup, do you know good Irish soup only has 429 beans in it?
It only has 429?
Only
429 sounds like a lot.
Yeah, but it can't have any more. Because if it did, it would be oh gosh, that's a great one right there. Right there? Is this where you want me?
This is where we want you. Right here. So 429 beans.
Be 430. Oh, I butchered it.
How'd you?
No.
And
Sick.
that's the joke.
That's good.
That's good.
Those are the kinds of jokes that I love.
The Downtown
Crap.
Salem Comedy Club. You can catch them there Fridays and Tuesdays.
He just dox us?
We could be in Salem, Massachusetts.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, now they know we're not.
No, we could be in Salem, Minnesota.
I totally just forgot the joke.
At 430 beans.
No.
Oh, it's what's the difference? No. What
Oh, it's
do a
419.
hamster
Yeah. That's a good one.
and a cigarette have in common?
Yeah.
They're completely harmless until they're in your mouth and on fire.
All right, we saved it.
Okay.
All right, so I think one of the first things we're going to be talking about, and Jude's very passionate about this, he's got some thoughts on it, is Christian music today, and why has it changed?
Why has it changed?
Why has it changed? How has it changed? What would you like to see from it? What do you miss about the 90s? You were talking about the 90s earlier.
Well, because, I grew up in the 90s, and that's when I have most of my first memories. And one of the things I remember is, sitting in the car and not being able to change the radio station so it was stuck on K-Love or The Fish or something. And I actually really like late 90s, early 2000s Christian music, Cutlass, Jars of Clay, a lot of other stuff. But it feels to me And I don't like a lot of modern contemporary Christian music because it feels, well, it all sounds similar to me. There are some unique ones, like Josh Garrels.
Josh Garrels is my favorite.
Alternative Christian musical artist today who makes, I think, some of the most unique sounding and like fairly heavy.
I mean, a lot of it sounds like actual music. Like he's writing music, but he's writing it to like Psalms or specific passages in the Bible that he's pulling out, and he's basically just singing these passages in the Bible.
Yeah,
and
he's got a really, I think, unique sounding kind of mellow voice. But that's not what I was thinking about. It feels like most popular Christian music has become sort of an adjective or adjectives. And I say that because they're describing things about God or about Christianity, which is great. I don't think that's a bad thing. But it's talking about his greatness, his love for us, fellowship with other Christians, all these like hotkey, really important stuff, but it's just kind of describing them. And what I like about some of the earlier Christian music is it feels kind of like a story, which a lot of earlier music kind of does. We've kind of focused, I think culturally, we've shifted in all genres of music to isolate certain feelings, and they just try to emulate that feeling through song, which might be the reason modern Christian music has shifted towards that, because it's becoming more mainstream, trying to mix in with pop. So, which
that's my primary gripe.
Pros and cons to trying to make a Christian art form more like the secular art form to reach more people, but then I think you water it down. Anyway, earlier Christian music that I like to listen to from, early for me, late 90s, early 2000s, it feels like they're verbs. It feels like they're doing things. It feels a lot more convicting to me. It talks about, like, some of them are just open laments about things the artists are doing wrong in their lives. And they're saying why and how, and I should be doing this, and now I am doing this. And it kind of changes throughout. Switchfoot has a lot of songs that I really, really like, that are kind of like that. But I'm just, I think there's something deeply moving and the word I use, convicting about that, because it's easier to relate to, for me at least, the areas of my life I need to improve rather than just hearing the attributes of God's greatness, which sounds bad, I feel like. But it also, I mean, if you take a second to digest it, as humans, flesh, sin nature, one of the best ways I connect personally, spiritually, to God is through music. And when I can kind of be in a place where I'm very vulnerable, because anytime you're convicted, you're taking a piece of yourself that either you're doing wrong, or you've been overlooking that you're doing wrong, and that is exposed. I think that's kind of what conviction is, and it's you recognizing that. And so that earlier music, when you're in that moment, you feel so much more vulnerable, and you're in this kind of channel, at least for me, it feels like directly to God. And so it's it feels much more special, more relatable, and I think most modern Christian music just sounds the same. And it's just describing things about God, which is great.
Well, I don't know if it's just modern Christian music. It's like really popular Christian music.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing.
Yeah, because it does feel, you said something earlier that I think is my primary gripe, if I had to gripe at all. Because like Josh Garrels is a modern Christian artist who's writing stuff now and doing stuff now. But there is like, you turn on the Christian radio station and there are a lot of times songs that I almost feel like I'm listening to like a pop song, but they've changed the words, kind of like what Kids Bop does to pop music.
Yeah.
But it's almost like sometimes some of this Christian music is like Jesus Bop, where they take something like a Bruno Mars song or something, or that kind of sound, and then they kind of change the words to fit like a Christian narrative.
They're wanting to be fit in with everyone else, and so they're creating that music that fits in with the tunes. And
and I think what they would say is that, well, we're not just trying to blend in with the rest of the world, but we're trying to reach what people are actively listening to.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what the purpose of Christian music is, too. Like, is the purpose of Christian music to get people to evangelize, or to get people who are not Christians to be like, oh, this is good, maybe I should look into this Jesus guy? Or should popular Christian music or Christian radio, should their purpose be like a place for Christians, like active believers, to go and be surrounded by things that are worshiping God, or music that's worshiping God, or fulfilling God's will, and encouraging them. I think that's probably the primary.
I think
the primary
both.
goal should be of Christian radio is to encourage believers, right? But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think both, and that's one of the things. You were, on the nose when you said popular Christian music, not just modern. Because
Yeah.
Josh Garrell's modern artist.
Benjamin Jacobs is the other one I was trying to
Benjamin
remember.
Jacobs.
He's great too, but they're not very popular.
It seems
That might
like
be why.
what was very popular, like DC Talk, Newsboys,
Stephen Curtis Chapman,
Crowder, Jars of Clay,
Stephen Crowder.
not Stephen Crowder. These were all, vastly popular, but also vastly different. So what has changed, in my opinion, what I think has changed really, is the popular artists are less diverse in what their music is.
Yeah.
Like a lot of Switchfoot
Which is true of secular music as well.
Yes, but it feels like modern, popular Christian music is not diversifying in its purpose. It feels like it is all, at least the stuff you hear on the radio, just the attributes of God, the attributes of Christianity, and just describing feelings.
Yeah.
Which, again, I don't think is a terrible thing, but I don't like it as much. It doesn't feel like as intimate because it feels so kind of mass-produced.
Here's something I'm thinking. So this is kind of a little different vein, but would you hear the modern music, modern Christian music, on a radio station or on a secular radio station, where you would hear some of the older Christian music on radio stations that aren't Christian? Because I've heard some non-Christian radio stations play Christian songs, but they're playing
Like 90s. Like
early
Switchfoot.
90s
Yes.
and
No,
Switchfoot.
I
They're
hear
playing
Switchfoot on alternative stations.
Yeah, Jars of Clay,
Yeah.
actually, when they first kind of exploded, their albums were being played on alternative folk radio stations all over the place. And there was a pretty big reaction to it when a lot of people realized they were Christian.
Yeah.
And they went on tour. Their very first tour was with a secular band. I can't remember the name because I'm not perfect. But they first went on tour. I'm close, but they first went on tour with a secular band, and a lot of people were frustrated with that.
I mean, I have some friends from the place I used to work at where they heard me listening to bands, and they were not Christians. And I mean, a lot of the music they listened to, it wasn't Christian music. I don't think they listened to Christian music, but they would hear me listening to things like Switchfoot and, who was the other one? It doesn't matter. Switchfoot, it might have been Reliant K or something like that. And they were like, oh, I love these guys. And I remember thinking like, oh, yeah, they're a Christian band. They're like, yeah, I know, but they got some stuff that, isn't Christian, which is kind of an interesting take, because I wouldn't necessarily say that music by Christian artists that isn't just like worshiping God means it's not Christian, but that is whatever. But like, kind of like what you're saying, Byron. There was a lot of this music that like other stations and other people were encouraging and putting out into the world, and they were Christian artists, but they weren't making popular Christian music, and then people were getting a hold of it that weren't Christians. I don't know where I was going with that, but I guess it was just kind of to substantiate what you were saying. I guess because I've had experiences with people who like this Christian music and they don't even have Christian backgrounds, and people that like saw that. I mean, I posted something on Snapchat one time that I was at a Skillet concert, and I got this guy who was the farthest thing from a believer, and he was like, "Oh, Skillet," and he knew exactly who it was. And I was like, "Oh, do you like them?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I think their music's great. It's really good. It's a great example of, like mildly hard rock or something like that." And which in that way, in that vein, kind of like we were talking about earlier, some of that music can serve an evangelical purpose, I guess, because then they are getting exposed to this Christian influence that is, I dropped the name of the movie. I dropped the name of the movie.
You said the name of the movie?
This music that is, and it was mostly that older music. Like you don't hear the music that is popular Christian music now popping up in other mediums and people going, "Oh, I like this music just because I like it. And I don't care that it's Christian," and that might be because like what you were saying is how it's very descriptive in nature of specific things.
Yeah, because they've followed the pattern of finding an emotion, finding a thing, and just describing it and kind of emulating the feeling surrounding that. But if that's the only lane you're in and you're making Christian music, people immediately, sometimes will even just tune it out because they'll go, well, I mean, I'm listening to this, it's Christian, and I'm not remotely interested in God, so they skip over it. And maybe that's not a good thing that the older music went under the radar. I would argue if everyone was listening to Christian music, like Switchfoot, for example, even if they weren't Christian and didn't understand it was Christian, isn't that better than listening to secular music?
I just gave my drink a swish and got a weird look from our guy in the chair.
I think that's better.
Yeah. So
hot take, maybe.
No, I agree. I mean, as I was kind of saying that you had this old music that people that weren't Christians kind of didn't realize was Christian music, I was like, wait, that almost sounds like I'm describing. I could use that same description to describe something that is a bad characteristic.
Yeah.
To be like,
I don't think it's.
But I don't think it is a bad thing.
I think it's apples and oranges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of goes back to some conversations I've had with Matt and with you and stuff about Christian influence and how it is important that we are distinctly Christian and outspoken with our faith. Because the goal isn't subterfuge or something to be like, hey, well, we're just a cool gaming community or a cool community of people. And once you're in here, we got you hooked. We're Christians. Yeah. You should be a Christian too. I mean, the goal is to be, or not to just, the neutral. Goal also isn't just to be like, we're just a group of positive influence, a group of people where you can just escape the toxicity of the internet or whatever. We should be open and upfront with our faith, but then have encouraging and good things to do with people.
Yeah. Like
that old music was doing.
Not just in a neutral position, but an edifying one. If that is a good word.
I think edifying is a great word.
I love that word.
I do as well.
I mean, I can complain and mope and grope about modern Christian music.
Yeah. We should be more careful though about how much we're just...
Yeah, it's not. I'm not saying, I can't definitively say it's a bad thing. I'm just, a lot of this is also just the music I was raised on, so there's a huge bias involved. I mean, I had a Pray for Rain CD that I habitually listened to just forever, and so that probably greatly affected
Goldie's
my
Last
taste.
Day.
Goldie's Last Day. I
wonder how many people listening to us right now even know what Pray for Rain is.
Listen to Goldie's Last Day by Pray for Rain.
Yeah, one of those songs that's not a gospel song, but it is a Christian group. At least we were told as kids they're a Christian group. They are, right?
Yeah.
All right. They are.
With a name like Pray for Rain? Are you kidding me?
I don't know, dude.
They are. Goldie's Last Day is...
Goldie's Last Day. If you want to cry... it's like the Hachi of songs.
It really is.
It's the Hachi of songs.
Yeah.
There you go. Quote that. Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I haven't heard it. So
Goldie's Last Day?
Hey, how about this is our first...
This is going to sound terrible.
Well, I mean, our sound guy has told us that he can put the music in afterward.
Let's see how well he
can do.
I like it.
Yeah, so
I'm going to make him do it.
Pull this up for you, Byron.
Okay.
Because Goldie's Last Day. Have you seen
the
Hachi?
whole thing?
Well, no,
I don't think I've seen Hachi.
I guess it'd be weird to listen to the whole thing.
It would be.
We could play part of it though.
It's very a cappella-esque.
Oh, cool.
Ooh.
Maybe it would be weird to play
something I'm less educated in, but know a little bit about. The key change throughout, which just changes with culture. And like how society moves and music. The key change, much different in earlier Christian music. Much lower, much easier to sing. It's also a problem I have with some worship music in churches is like they try to get very exotic is maybe the right word with the key that the music is in, and then not everyone can sing well, and it's very noticeable when you're singing poorly because you can't get in key, and not everyone is a great singer. But
there's a part in Goldie's Last Day.
It's the
that is that is hilarious, and it always made me think I was listening to like a song by the Muppets or something.
Oh,
and it's where he goes, "There was an incident." That one, you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
I could just play that for Byron because it's funny. But just to describe to you what the song is in general, the song is about a group of guys who had a dog, and it was like just this wonderful dog. And this is why I say it's the Hachi of songs.
The dog is Goldie.
The dog's name is Goldie.
Okay.
And it's about the day that the dog dies.
Oh, okay.
And it's talking about how
this incident
there's just nothing
was
left
not
to
an
say.
accident.
Oh, well, then there's a part where it says it's like these two like detectives or something that pop into the song, and they're like, "This incident was not an accident, as per our investigation. Confident that this incident was not an accident. We are confident that it was not an accident. She never missed a vaccination." And it's just talking. That's just unrelated.
Okay.
But the song in general is just about how there's nothing left to say. Wish you could have been there for Goldie's last day.
Okay.
I'm not going to play it because to get the song, you'd have to listen to the whole thing, and it would be weird to just play a part of it.
Yeah, but as soon as the
you should
episode's
listen to
over,
it.
I'll listen to it.
Yeah, and it feels very early 2000s or late 90s.
I'll listen to it on my way home.
Okay, yeah, we can listen to it.
it's
on the way
good.
home.
It's good.
It's a good song. But
Okay.
all right, is that all we have on Christian music? I guess.
I mean, yeah. Other than just like my complaints.
Was this
that
just
maybe
us? I thought for some reason we had like specific. Sorry, go ahead.
There are
Byron.
definitely times though, like where I just need to turn on the radio, and I turn on the Christian station, and there's like, okay, there's that one song, an older song, maybe current, that just like speaks to you,
Yeah,
brings you through a couple moments. You're like, wow, I've never heard those words like that, because you're in a different mindset, you're different things going through your life.
and
like,
regardless
it
of
helps.
the content of the song, God can still use it.
Exactly,
Right.
Exactly. It may not be the best song, maybe like catchy in a bad way, it's stuck in your head and don't really like it.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
yeah, we shouldn't just sit here and trash on modern Christian
One
music.
of the
It does
reasons
still
I
sit-
said verb and adjectives, because when you're just describing something, it feels like there's only so much you can get out of the song. But when they're talking about these really intense and convicting things, it's so much easier. It's not easier for God to speak to you through it.
Mhm.
But I think it's easier for you to hear him speak to you when it's these very personal things, not just describing attributes of God, which obviously all pop Christian music isn't just descriptive. You know, I'm using very broad terms because I want to sound right.
Name an example right now.
You know,
put you on the
what's
spot. Name an
King and
example right
Country?
just kidding.
Just
Actually,
kidding. I
actually
love
kind of
them.
I think I remember liking.
I'm gonna make a lot of enemies if I start making
Yeah,
specific
yeah,
examples.
yeah.
A lot of enemies.
We can only
Uh,
make specific examples about ones we like.
Yeah. Here's the ones I hate. Top 10 list.
Yeah.
Would you have liked more modern music, more of the modern Christian music, if you were born more recently?
That's the
So,
thing.
like, if you were younger, and
Don't
this is
know.
what you grew with. We can't say, because that's like
Yeah.
us interjecting of like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe. But we all grew up at the same age,
Yeah.
same kind of music, all growing up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
for the
Jude
most
definitely
part-
grew up at the same time as you and I did.
Well, early
for the mo-
90s.
for the most part.
Yeah.
Early 90s, late
89.
80s.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
I did, yeah. It's like exactly what I grew up with, the CDs that I would
Yeah.
just play and listen to, along with the Alvin and the Chipmunks soundtrack.
exactly, That's
Which
the
is, you
best
know,
stuff.
Ugh. You mean from the movie?
But a little bit of devil's advocate, hate Alvin and the Chipmunks, and I was raised with it. So maybe
Maybe, I don't know.
it's
I
not
don't
just
know.
a bias.
Just ask him
Um,
if there was bias for it.
Yeah,
I mean, there probably is. You kind of talked about that at the beginning, too.
I went
how-
camping one time,
Oh,
and there was a chipmunk that kept sneaking into our tent.
that darn chipmunk.
Yeah, I had a slingshot, like one of those ones that goes around your arm. It stopped breaking into our tent.
Okay.
Was I there?
No.
Because I don't remember this.
No. It was with Mom, and then we went to like.
Oh.
It was when we went to. It's a lake on the border of Nevada and California. Yeah.
Is this the climbing to the top of the mountain and pounding your chest like a gorilla?
Oh my goodness.
Wait,
Because
wait,
that's a
wait.
fun
Yeah.
story.
That's a good
Yeah.
story.
So
Have you heard this, Byron?
I don't think I have.
my uncle, cool guy. Like
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
He's a man's man. He's a
Yeah.
dude,
Okay.
a real dude. And he's like huge into rock climbing.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of being into rock climbing.
Do you remember way back when we went there as kids and he took us rock climbing?
No.
No? Okay, sorry. Continue what you're saying then.
Anyway, he takes us to this wall, and it's pretty. Supposedly, like it's like a novice wall, so I'm obviously struggling incredibly. And I finally, I make it to the top, and I'm up there, and he's up there, and he's just basically he climbs it first, gets to the top, doesn't say anything. He's like a statue for the entire. He fuses into the rock surface, and he becomes stone. And while I'm climbing, he's just gazing, over the landscape like a hero. And I reach the top, and he takes a deep breath. And then he squats down and he starts beating his chest and wailing like a gorilla does.
Okay.
Not a human thing. And I'm perplexed. My loins hurt because of the thing that I'm strapped into. And he's just like,
Common problem.
this is how you capture the moment. You climb the wall.
He's never heard of a camera, for your information.
Yeah, no. You've climbed the wall, but now the moment is free. How do you capture it? And, according to him, it's squatting, beating your chest like a gorilla, and making wild noises. And so now, anytime I accomplish anything in life that's a small victory, that's what I do.
Yeah.
You squat, and your chest.
And I deliver kettle corn, which is like
So every delivery.
Every delivery.
So today,
You finish
actually,
stocking
yeah.
the shelves.
Do you make animal noises as you do this?
Well, no, stocking the shelves has become so mundane. I don't do it.
It's not a
However,
victory
today,
anymore.
this is true. My last stop, I'm usually there right around 12. But their lunch break for receiving is 12 to 1. So if I get there at 12, I have to just waste an hour waiting. But
Is
if I get there
this
just
Fred Meyer?
before, this is Ray's,
Oh, okay.
in an unnamed location.
Yeah. Wait, isn't Ray's your first stop?
No, not the way I do it.
Oh.
So if I get there at like 11:50, I'm in. Today I got there at 11:59, and I'm racing. I have the whole credit memo book in, my armpit because I don't want to just grab the credit memo out. I don't have time. I'm in a rush. It's 11:59, literally, and I'm buzzing in, and the guy opens the door. He looks unhappy.
Yeah.
But I made it, just barely. And so right there in front of him, I drop the memo book, and I just start beating my chest and wailing like a gorilla.
And then he shut the door in your face.
And then he shut the door.
and said, wait an hour.
I did make it in time. I did not beat my chest. I will be doing that next week, though.
Okay. Perfect.
Honestly, which store... There's... Mainline would think that's funny.
Mainline would think that's funny.
The mainline
Rays would
station.
not.
Yeah, Rays would not.
Rays would
You
not.
should do that sometime.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a store that you could do that at, where you're just like, and then when they ask you, like, you don't understand how much of a victory this
Hey,
is.
kettle corn guy. Hi. Yeah.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
That would be good.
That would be great.
All right, well, that's our uncle. He's great.
He's
This
a cool
isn't
guy.
us trashing on him, but
No.
he's,
It was really fun.
I
I
wish I
learned a
had
lot
been
about
there.
rock climbing.
that was, I mean, that's the only reason I wish I had been at that camping trip. But
Yeah.
that camping trip, I think I was still working at the baseball field.
Oh, okay.
And Jude went. It was the only.
Yeah.
Oh no, the other kids must have gone too. But
They did.
Jude went and he came back and he was like, "Did you know that when you get to the top of a rock wall, you have to beat your chest and scream like a monkey?" And I was like, "Oh, this sounds good."
Yeah. Highlights was the chipmunk no longer breaking into our food tent. And
So
then
that
climbing
was
the
the same-
rock wall.
that was the same trip.
Yeah, I took your slingshot. It's your one that goes
Oh,
around
okay.
the wrist. And
Yeah.
with a few rocks, you
Well,
can do
with
a
your
lot.
experience in shooting rats with crossbows, that should have been perfect.
Oh, yeah. But that's a story for another time.
Yeah. What's up, man?
Well, we had speaking of chipmunks,
Huh?
And killing them.
I never said that.
No.
Speaking of
Not
chipmunks,
quite
He
killing them.
just
Okay.
he happened
So,
to stop
he
breaking
happened
into our
to
food
stop.
tent.
Yeah. So in Boy Scouts, I had this friend. He was kind of a little bit of a out there.
Ruffian.
Yeah. He decided he was going to bring a whole bag of bubble gum with him and put it in his backpack.
As you do.
As you do when you go camping out in the
Well, if you
wilderness.
get stuck in a cave, you can
Yeah,
blow a giant bubble.
you can blow a giant bubble and get yourself
Float,
out of there.
yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly what he was thinking. I don't know. But he put this whole thing in there. Chipmunk came in, ate through his bag. Yeah, it was. Went through and ate through his backpack and grabbed the bubble gum and left bubble gum wrappers all over the tent and then ran away.
And then it tried to blow a bubble.
I
When
don't
he
know.
saw it
we-
floating on the horizon.
Yeah.
like,
It just like slipped away over the horizon.
Yeah.
Never
And then
happened
this
again.
just
stone
ate
came
it?
out of nowhere.
But he
Just-
destroyed his brand new backpack. Just ripped a hole in it.
Oh, I missed that part. I think
Yeah.
I was zoning out.
Went into his backpack, ripped his backpack. Then it was going to come back in for the tent, but it could easily slip underneath the tent because
Yeah.
the tents we were sleeping in. But it just kept coming back in, trying to grab more food. Just kept running around in circles around our tent.
That's crazy because I didn't actually kill the chipmunk
No.
on my camping trip.
No.
It just stopped showing up, and then I saw it on the horizon floating with a giant bubble.
Probably was the same one.
Yeah.
Probably the same.
Yeah, Byron was still in Boy Scouts 3 years ago.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a cool camping trip story.
Sure you do.
What? Really?
I do?
That one time your sleeping bag caught fire? Oh, wait,
I wasn't
that was
aware.
me.
Okay. I was like, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. It was the same camping trip that the chipmunk
This
stopped.
is like the most eventful
It
camping
really,
trip
it
ever.
actually was.
Really? This all happened in the
We
same trip?
melted a lantern. I melted a lantern because I left it by the fire, and then I sat too close to the fire, and my sleeping bag caught on fire because I was sitting in a chair.
Good
in it.
gravy.
Yeah, it was eventful. Now that I think about it, we saw a duck.
You saw a duck.
Yeah,
That's probably
That's
the highlight.
probably the
right there,
highlight.
mm-hmm. I got sunburned so bad. On my
Oh,
we
I do
took a
remember
nap.
this.
I took a nap. I keep saying we, but really all the mistakes were me.
Well, you
I
know
fell
what's
asleep
in
on the
your head.
beach without any sunscreen because I actually don't burn very easily, despite being super pale. I also don't tan. I'm just kind of invulnerable to the sun, except for this time.
Except for this time.
Yeah, my legs were literally red and a little bit of pressure, you can just take the skin right off.
I do remember you coming back and you were disgusting.
Yeah, I had to wrap my legs in like Ziploc bags to take a shower, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This does not sound
Yeah.
comfortable.
I mean,
My cousin stepped on my foot.
been there. As a ginger, I've been
and didn't it just skin just slaw off?
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember you describing it to me later, and I just wanted to vomit.
Oh my goodness. And she knew, too, which was pretty vile.
She did it on purpose.
She did it on purpose.
Yeah.
She actually stopped breaking into the food tent, too.
Good.
Yeah. So.
Okay, well, I mean, those are camping stories.
Yeah.
But, okay, real quick, we're all playing some different video games right now, and I thought it'd be fun to kind of do a segment. We could check in on this maybe every week's episode or every few episodes, because we kind of tend to play the same video games for a while. But
Yes.
lots of new games are coming out right now, and Christian Influence is a gaming community. So, what video games are you guys playing?
Byron?
Oh, me first? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, a friend lent me, goodness, what's the name of it? It's Dread. That's what he keeps calling it.
Judge Dredd.
No, it's not Judge Dredd.
Minecraft.
No, it's, Metroid Dread.
Metroid Prime.
Oh, is that the new one?
The Dread, yeah. No, it's not the Prime, it's not Prime series. It's their,
It's a Nintendo game.
it's a Nintendo,
Okay, so we're in a wheelhouse I'm very familiar with, Nintendo.
yeah, I mean, but I haven't started it yet. I keep,
Well, that's not a game you're playing.
That's not the game you're playing.
I have it in the console.
What's the game you were playing before you didn't play Metroid Prime? Not
Last
Prime.
video game? I have.
So wait,
I play
said,
Magic.
Hey, what are you guys playing right now? And you went.
There's this
I
game I
play-
have
Here's
that I
this game
haven't
that
played.
I'm
No.
not playing yet.
Okay, fine. I play Magic primarily right now,
The card game.
The card game.
I
The card
also
game.
play Magic.
and then I
The
also
card game.
play it on.
I've never heard of it.
Arcade or the arena version of it. It's online.
The mobile.
The mobile.
Yeah.
It's not as fun. I like the card game the most.
The card
Yeah.
game is fun.
Paper version, much better.
Jerry?
Well, if anybody has seen my streams, they know I've basically just become a Fortnite streamer now, which
pretty
is
cool.
probably the biggest
Yep.
failing of my entire life.
No, it's actually not, and I'm pretty passionate about this.
Yeah,
I like all your skins.
Fortnite
you like my skin?
is
Thanks.
mid, It's like a...
It's
but
mid what?
when you're playing it with your younger siblings who think it's the
Okay,
coolest
yeah.
game in the world, it is great.
Well, no,
and there
I
is no
actually
debating that.
do think it's a good game.
Obviously, it's a good
And
game. It sells.
You don't think it's a good game?
I mean, obviously, it's a good game because it's
No, I also
massively-
enjoy it, even if I'm playing alone. But yes, the reason, because I used to play it a while ago and I stopped for years, and then it kind of became the meme that it's like just for children or whatever.
Yeah.
But getting back into it, the primary reason I am still playing it is because playing with our siblings is so much fun.
Yeah.
Because one of them is 12?
And the other one is
I hope they're not
older.
listening. Jenna's not 12.
Joel's like 13.
Hang on.
He's 2 years away from his permit.
He's 13. And Jenna is
Younger.
a younger age.
Yes.
We love you guys, but there's 5 of you, and I can't keep track of all of your
Really?
ages. But playing Fortnite with them is probably my favorite thing.
It's
in the world
so
right now.
fun.
They're actually.
I
I was
enjoy
supposed to play
watching you
Fortnite
guys.
with them tonight, and they just texted me, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to get on Fortnite?" And can't,
Yeah.
But yeah, so I
So
guess I'm playing a
bad.
lot of Fortnite. When I'm not playing that, I've been playing. I played some Griftlands. That's super fun if you like roguelikes.
What is Grifflands?
It's a deck building roguelike, primarily like story focused. So you're playing in this post-apocalyptic world that is just like led by an evil dictatorship, and you are playing as this girl who's trying to get revenge on the crime lord that killed her family. But the gameplay of it is deck building. So you're going through the game, buying and acquiring new cards to add to your deck, which when you go into combat, you draw those cards and each one has different effects. And you're just trying to...
Oh, that's actually pretty cool.
But the really interesting thing about it is there's a lot of like... You know what a roguelike is?
Yeah. Well,
Where if you know what Hades is, you start over each run. You're trying to beat a run, basically. It is a roguelite, I think. I can never remember what the difference
basically, it's roguelikes...
Well, there's roguelike and there's roguelite, but regardless,
Yeah.
it's one of those two because there's apparently a difference.
Where there's a certain, usually pretty long stretch of the game where there's no saving in between. You basically make it to the end or you restart the entire
And there's very little progression. The progression mainly comes in the point of getting new things for your next run.
Yeah.
But regardless, what makes this one really interesting, because there are other deck building ones. I think Slay the Spire is another deck building roguelike, but What makes this one really fun is your character has 2 different decks that you play from. One is a combat deck, and the other one is a persuasion deck or diplomacy deck. And so multiple times throughout the game, you'll be prompted by like a character that's like, hey, I was given a quest where I'm supposed to go serve this person, court papers or something, right? And when I approach them, they don't react well, of course. And then you can try and persuade them to taking the papers and moving on and collecting the money or whatever, or you can beat the daylights out of them and then give them the papers to convince them. But it is super fun. But the decks are different, and the way the game plays is entirely different depending on what you do. So you talk to them, and then you can go, okay, I'm going to try and persuade them with diplomacy. And the whole mechanics of the game are different in that way. And dude, I have so much more fun with the diplomacy stuff. But yeah, I mean, if you like roguelikes, it's really...
Well, it's kind of like real life. Like people who serve other people, they get the court orders and stuff. I mean, you can either just hand it to them or
if they say no, you can... I mean, you have to get them to recognize what it is, right?
I mean, they have to end up with the papers by any means. So, very cool.
Yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down, I think. Yeah, so those are the 2 things. I mean, I haven't played Griftlands a whole lot lately, but I am looking at playing Elden Ring when I get my next paycheck.
Elden Ring? I play Elden Ring.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Actually,
like
it basically plays me. I've never played a Souls-like game, which is any game. It's a term a lot of people hate, but it's a game that's like Dark Souls. It's very difficult. The combat system is pretty...
You haven't played any of them? I thought you played Dark Souls 3.
No.
Oh. How have I played Dark Souls 3 and you haven't? I mean, I've played like 6 hours of it.
You played it...
Oh, and then you didn't.
And then I didn't.
Okay, that's how. All right,
Yeah.
sorry. Continue.
So in that way, I haven't played any of the Dark Souls games. Yeah. The combat's pretty intense, at least for someone who's never played it. Elden Ring is fun, though.
I've heard that this one is much more beginner-friendly to a Souls-like game.
I guess.
From what I understand, the barrier to entry is significantly lower in Elden Ring for one reason. I think this is the only one you can jump in or something.
Nice. That makes me feel so much worse for sucking so bad at the game. Basically, you can dodge the ways of avoiding attacks. As far as I know, there's dodge rolling, and then there's just kind of standard dodge, which is a backstep. And then there's parrying. And I've played the game... I have had the game for like 4 days, and I've played it pretty consistently. And I haven't successfully parried once. I just basically raise my shield and get a lance to the chest, which is just so cool. Yeah. And then, you stand up, and the guy with the lance on a horse runs you over and gives you a concussion. It's really fun. I've basically done that like 20 times.
And then you die.
Yeah. And then I play Fortnite with my sibling. Yeah. I haven't...
Have you beat the first boss yet? Like the tutorial boss?
Yep. The tutorial boss I did beat.
So you got the horse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
it's not really a boss, though.
Oh.
He moves at the speed of a snail, and you can just kind of run around him.
It's meant to just teach you the mechanics.
Yeah. Actually, I'm having way more fun. I first started with all like medieval fantasy, blah, blah, blah games. I like to go sword and shield first, because it's just fun. That's what I usually do. And it was really hard. And my character was kind of like a serious, cool looking. I spent a lot of time in character creation.
Classic fantasy hero.
Yeah, like long hair, mustache. Really kind of like just the epitome of attractive guys. And instead, since I died,
just like
me,
Byron.
and so that was terrible. I was just getting run through with lances, swords, even people hitting me with their shields. A guy hit me with a bouquet of flowers, and I died from bleeding damage.
What? Are you being serious?
There must have been
I'm not
roses or
joking.
something?
He also said I had
Are those
maidens.
like regular enemies you can fight on the regular?
I
Is that
don't
just a
know. I
specific
haven't
guy?
made it out of the first field, basically. This guy talked to me and he was like, "But you have no maidens." And so, of course, I stabbed him, and then he killed me with a bouquet of flowers. But no, I beat the tutorial boss. But then as soon as you go out, there's the guy on the horse, and dude, it's rough. Anyway, sword and shield. I was not having fun. So I went back to character creation. And now I play a character named Ruples McStoople. And basically, his head looks like a vertical green bean. His chin is probably longer than his head. His nose curves all the way down.
So
he
like
has
one
a
of the
magical
goblins from
staff.
Harry Potter.
Basically a goblin from Harry Potter, but he also has like a black bob cut, like Lord Farquaad kind of.
Oh,
Perfect.
Yeah, and he's a wizard, but a wizard with a sword and a shield that he can't use because I can't parry.
why would a parry require a shield? Isn't a parry?
I don't get into the specifics of it.
Never mind. I thought you parry with your sword.
Well,
maybe that's why you can't parry.
no.
You're using your shield.
No. Maybe I'm just saying parry, but there's a block option where you swing your shield,
Gotcha.
and I get ruined every time I try.
Well, if it is called parry, try using your sword.
You can't. You have to. I think you have to put both hands on your sword to use it to parry. I'm getting
our resident expert
is
corner.
saying that's right.
We keep an Elden
game.
Ring goblin in the corner to correct us.
Yeah, he says no, and he's probably ashamed.
You're wrong. That's him. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually modeled Rupel's McStoople off of him.
After him.
After him.
You need to take a picture of Rupel's McStoobles, and we need to put it up on like our
It soon
Twitter
will be
or
my
something.
profile photo for probably everything.
Oh, okay. So people in the Discord will see it.
Yeah.
For the record, Jude in the Discord, his name is Mesothelioma.
Mesothelioma. And right now it's a picture of me as a baby with,
Mesothelioma.
yeah, very angry face. Anyway, I've been playing Elden Ring. It's destroying me. And it's just ruining my ego and self-esteem. Which is probably
Probably a good thing.
Yeah, it's really
So you should keep playing it.
doing a number on me.
Maybe we should all play a little Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Humble us a little bit.
Yeah, it's such a good practice in humility.
How many hours do you have logged in it?
I don't want to talk about that.
Because it's too little or because it's too many?
Because for not having a single successful parry, it's too many.
Oh, how many?
10? No.
10 or more?
Yeah, there's more.
More than 10? More than 20? You've only had it for 4 days.
It's not more than 20.
Okay.
It's enough hours that you
15.
should
Between 10 and
understand
20.
one of the core mechanics,
And-
which I do not.
And have you
Right.
made it past? You haven't made it past out of the first. You haven't made it out of the first field.
I did go out of the field,
Okay.
and then I died. And then I went out of the field, I grabbed my stuff, and went back to the field.
Okay. So we're
And
still in
then
the first
Why don't
field.
you just leave the field?
There's so much stuff in the field.
We'll go explore somewhere
There's
else.
some sheep that roll.
That sounds exciting.
They tuck and roll, like somersault away.
Like
yeah,
those Pokemon that just
exactly.
roll around.
Yeah.
The sheep Pokemon.
The sheep.
Whatever.
I don't know.
from the newest
I
game.
don't know Pokemon. The new ones at all. I know some base Pokemons. Yeah, it's rough.
So that's all you're playing right now? Elden Ring?
And then Fortnite with the kids.
And then
which
when
is
you
really
hate
fun.
yourself, you play some Fortnite with the kids?
I basically every day play as much Elden Ring as I can before I'm just destroyed. And then I play with Joel and Jenna Fortnite, and I feel better.
Okay. So then, of the games you're playing right now, what would we recommend to our listeners to try? Just to try.
Should
they try Elden Ring?
I mean, yeah.
Oh.
The story is really cool. The setting and the art and the whole ambiance is really cool, and it's fun. But man, it's difficult.
It's brutal.
Or maybe it's really easy, and I'm just bad.
I like to think that that's what it is.
I don't, but I do think that's what it is. I don't like it, though.
Yeah. Well, next week, I'll have some experience with it as well, because I'm going to buy it tomorrow.
You're gonna come in next week, just
I'll be like,
having
I
beaten
have
the game.
220 hours in it, and I beat the game.
Yeah. That's the game I've been playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I play Magic, the card game.
Yeah, I mean, we all do.
Because it's very fun. It's very fun.
Which we need to do some sort of Christian influence Magic the Gathering stream or something sometime. I know Matt and I have talked about it before, but I would love the next time we all get together to play if we could find a way to like stream our games or something. I don't know
That
if
would be
people
really
enjoy
fun.
watching
That'd be
it.
awesome.
I don't know if people enjoy watching it or something, but then we can have video documentation of how overpowered Matt's Zer the Enchanter deck is.
And how absolutely ruthless my goblins deck is.
I've only heard about it. Matt's
That's true, you
deck,
haven't
and
had the
so I've
pleasure.
actually never been able to play it. I'm pretty
Well,
much...
having a powerful deck is like only fun if you play it fun. You know, like Matt, I know in his deck he could like win by turn 3 basically. He could lock the game down. But what's really shameful is that he's not playing it its most powerful way, and he's still destroying us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which is pretty
It's
cool.
kind of like you with your goblins, how you're not really you originally purposely chose to not add crazy cards for crazy combos because you thought it would be too much, and then all of a sudden one day the light switch flipped and you went, "Oh yeah, I added them."
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
You
Because
didn't have all of them. There's a
No,
couple.
I haven't even bought like expensive cards.
No,
I've just
but you added things like Staff of Dominance.
I've
Nobody
organized
listening to
it.
us knows what we're talking about, but
No. So I made a deck that's all the creatures in it basically are goblins. There's nothing else. And that was kind of a restriction. It was like, because when I play games like that, I just like to go for funny things. I think goblins are funny. And it turned out to be significantly like strong, like it could hold its own. And then I realized, I can ruin my friends.
Oh yeah.
If I just add like 2 cards, and I did, and it's great.
Yeah.
But it's like a glass cannon, it's strong, but if you hit it in the right spots, it's without my commander, if that makes any sense to the listeners.
Right.
Yeah. If you target it in certain areas, which are very easy, I think, to target, it doesn't work at all.
Nice.
But sometimes it does.
All right, well, I mean, we don't have to talk more about Magic because I don't think I bet most of that went over the heads of people. But
hey, if you want a game,
if you like card games and you haven't tried Magic the Gathering, I mean, it is like the epitome of trading card games. And I've played a lot of them, and I always fall off of them. Like after playing for a couple weeks, I mean, Dice Masters. I don't know if that counts as a card game, but I just was packing up stuff at the house today and found all my Dice Master stuff.
Has to have cards in it.
It does have cards in it.
Yeah, it does. It's cards and
There's
dice.
cards and dice.
It's like 2
Regardless,
games in one.
if you like trading card games, Magic is awesome.
Oh yeah, and like
there's a
find
reason
group of
why
people.
it's at the top, and that was a reason for me to not play it for a while. But once I got into it, oh sweet Nelly, it's good.
Game over.
It was a game over. Okay, I mean, I guess do we have anything else we wanted to talk about? We're at like 45
Byron
minutes.
does.
Oh yeah, Byron, you did say you had that one thing you wanted to bring up.
We all kind of brought stuff.
Yeah, and you were like, "Hey, I'm really passionate about this one subject."
Oh yeah.
Your beard and how it's been
about how my beard
growing.
looks and
beard up.
Yes, that you
Yeah.
got.
It looks great.
yeah,
It does look good.
The color is interesting.
I know. I tried dyeing it pink and purple
We're just gonna make
the
fun
other
of
day,
Byron's.
and
It's
it didn't really work out.
it's
so.
strange
Well, when you
because
tried
it's
to
like
dye it back from the pink and purple,
Yeah, that's when
that's
where
where the
Yeah.
failing was because now it's in like spots of black and white. Yeah,
it didn't go through very well. And then now with masks, it just makes like this nice wave, and it kind of looks like the sunset.
well, the mask
ocean.
mandate was lifted. What are you talking about?
Oh wait, sorry, forgot about that. That's right.
Wait, do you still have to wear masks where you work?
Oh yeah, I wear
Yeah.
masks every day, all
Well,
day.
don't you
every
work
day.
with a lot of wood? Like wood dust?
No, I work.
Oh, no, wait,
he works
you
in physical
work.
Where do I work? Where do I work? Here, let's-
wrong.
Did you work with a lot of wood?
Yes. Let's hear where I
Well,
work.
I know
guys.
people is surrounding your family work at like a woodworking place.
Yes,
I don't want
yeah.
to say the name. 'cause,
Yeah. No, of course.
It's
I mean,
pretty
Levi
big,
works
but
with plastics,
it's
and
Tesla.
Byron works with wood.
Yeah. But then you work with fish, not wood.
No, I don't. work
Also
with fish.
wrong. Still.
Still wrong. Still wrong.
Where do you work?
Where do I work? I work for a physical therapy clinic. So
I thought.
no, I work for a physical therapy clinic, and so
Yeah.
I do work with people
Yeah. Any fish?
that are living.
There were things about what you said
Yeah.
that were right.
So I have worked with wood, and I have worked with fish. I worked at a fish store, and I have a fish tank and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But currently, I work as a physical therapy assistant, and so I work with a whole bunch of
Okay.
people. And since we're medical, we have to wear masks.
I see.
So
I was curious about that the other day. That when the mask mandate got lifted, I didn't know if
yeah,
even places like you
there's-
had to wear them.
it's been for a quick hot take. It's pretty dicey out there.
Dicey?
People will come in and they'll be like, "I don't have to wear masks," and we're like, oh, "Sorry."
Oh
you
yeah,
still-
that probably
you
only
still
makes that
do.
worse.
And they'll walk in, and now we have a stockpile of like 50 masks that we usually have on hand, and we have to give out one a day, maybe. Every day we're going through like 12 to 20 masks, and it's pretty bad. Just from people like, "Oh, I hate these masks." Oh,
And the
yeah,
people that
yeah.
won't wear them, you have to like restrain them on the ground.
Yeah,
and put them
it's
on their
like
face.
chokeholds, or we call the cops. It's pretty.
Well,
it's
yeah.
pretty
You know,
bad.
you're
And then you're
doing-
like, hey, while you're down there, let me stretch your leg out a little
Yeah,
bit
exactly.
for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why don't you just,
So-
since you're doing physical therapy, so
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
probably where not to like push and knead. If they don't wear a mask, just say, okay, let me work on your back for a few minutes, slip one of their discs out, like,
Oh my gosh.
show them what's
Yeah.
what. And then you go, well, maybe if you were wearing a mask, that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, there are some people that come in and they're very like tense, and so we just like put them in a restraining hold, knock them
Yeah.
out, and then we can like move their
Work
muscles
on, like,
around.
Play-Doh.
Yeah.
It's like Play-Doh. It's
Yeah.
just so much easier.
I should get a job at a physical
Yeah.
therapy place.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was surprised by how quickly, I guess I shouldn't have been, but even places like restaurants and stuff. I mean,
yeah.
we went to that Mexican restaurant last night, and was that last night?
Yeah, I was
Wasn't that
All the days
Salvadorian?
blur together.
Salvadorian.
And oh yeah, I was the guy that was like, it's not a
Yeah,
Mexican
now
restaurant.
we're the guys.
This guy.
Gosh,
it's my
Jerry, it was
favorite restaurant.
Salvadorian, you racist.
No, all of them were just like, I mean, all the restaurants and stuff I've been to, everybody's done.
Yeah,
Except for, I guess, medical places. But
medical places. Are
I haven't
definitely
been to a
masks.
place that I would have expected there to be masks yet.
Yeah,
And
there's
there
a
are
few
masks.
places like walk into a couple stores near the medical places where you'll see the medical workers, and they'll all be wearing masks.
But I mean, aren't we all wearing masks?
We are.
Yeah. Good segue.
That's a good segue for another topic for another day.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's our next topic.
Next episode,
should
we'll be
we
talking
end
about the skin masks. we wear.
Ew.
What?
What?
Should we end every episode with a discussion about what our next episode topic should be? Just so that next time when we start talking, we can bail on it like we did this time?
We didn't bail on it.
Sounds totally good.
Levi took it too far. He's not legally allowed.
Levi took it too far.
And now I'm taking this mask thing too far.
With skin masks.
I won't be here next episode.
All right,
And
well,
neither
next
will
week-
Byron.
No, but in a way,
part
of him will be.
of him will be.
All
Well,
right.
it was great having me on.
It was great having you on. Thank you for letting us know.
Hey, it was great. It was great having you on.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah, thanks for
I know.
being here, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of a last minute decision, I know, and we had to bend some things to make it work, but I'm glad you were here.
Real
and
quick.
you'll be back for sure.
Are you a natural ginger, or is this all artificial? Be honest.
Actually, I rusted. I just got left outside, and I.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They left you?
My hair
They
color
left you
was
in the sprinklers.
And the sprinklers?
My hair used to be green, and then it got left outside and just molded and
Like,
turned rusty.
like reverse.
No, that's
Copper.
an interesting
reverse
and
copper.
disgusting
It's
thing
weird.
to confess on a podcast
Very
with such
cool.
a large audience.
All right.
So, yeah.
Well, hey, this has been a great app.
Yeah, it was a good
As they
discussion.
say.
We talked about a few things.
We did a few things.
You got it.
I got it. Hey, I've been your host, Jude Crane, and these are my co-hosts.
Jerry Crane.
Byron Thiessen.
Thanks for listening,
Byron
everybody.
Thiessen Crane.
We'll see you next time.
All right, roll the outro.
I end the program by saying, you've made this day a special day by just your being you. There's no person in the whole world like you, and I like you just the way you are.